Chairman, you were talking about strategy and what is actually happening on the ground. And some people say, as you know, that strategy is the heavenly form of management. But I think the strategies are very important, and I think the European security strategy has been extremely important for the development of our security policy of the European Union. Now, at this time, people in councils do not speak about European defense. They speak about the euro and the future of the euro. But I think there is a very close connection between the two things. I remember when we were doing the euro, at the time I was chairman of the Economic and Monetary Committee of the European Parliament, and Helmut Kohl and others said, we are going into monetary union, but at the same time, we want political union. And we have achieved monetary union, but the vehicle we have developed during the years as far as political union is concerned is something like a very small deux chevaux. And there is very much to do there. And I want to say that the euro will remain an experiment as long as it is not part and parcel of a political union. And what is a political union? A political union is not harmonization of everything from economic to social policy. The core center of a political union is a common security and defense policy. And I think this is why today's meeting is very important for us. What has happened since then, as far as European security and defense is concerned? We had the decisions of Saint-Malo, of Helsinki, of Cologne, and we had the decisions about the 60,000 persons which should be available for operations of the European Union. We had the operations, soldiers under the command of the European Union in Bosnia, in Congo, in Chad, now at the Horn of Africa. So operations have already happened, they have been successful, and these were soldiers under the command of the European Union. I think this is something very important, which is not clear to everybody, and therefore it has to be said from time to time. We have the battle groups of the European Union, an important step forward. Some countries have made this a very important matter, as this was the case for Poland. But until now, no battle group has ever been used in an operation of the European Union. They have been used in operations of NATO, and I think that's very important. I'm very happy, for example, that the Eurocorps also has the certification of NATO, because it would be wrong to invent the same wheel twice. But until now, the battle groups have not been used as it was expected that they would be used one day. And I think another very important step is the introduction of the External Action Service. As President Pöttering said this morning, it's still in a situation of rodage, but I think it is a very important instrument which will be very important for the future, and this has been developed meanwhile. What about Libya? Libya was a military success of NATO, without any doubt, but it was a serious drawback for the policy, defense policy of the European Union, because when we started the security and defense policy of the European Union, many of us thought that if something happens, a crisis breaks out in the immediate environment, geographical environment of the European Union, especially in North Africa or on the Balkans again, that then the European Union would be able to an autonomous action to master this crisis. But we saw when the crisis in Libya broke out, when It was the question of making a no-fly zone. That, and I must say that this is a pity that the European Union did not dispose of the capabilities and the organization to organize such a zone, and therefore I'm happy that NATO was able to do this. The active nations in this context were mainly Great Britain and France. Many Europeans have been active there, but the European Union as such had only a minor role to play in this crisis. Does this have to be like this also in the future? The member countries of the European Union spend about 200 billion a year for security and defense. If you add the defense budgets of the 27 member states of the European Union, you arrive at the proud figure of 200 billion. That's quite a lot of money, but there are many duplications, and therefore this money is used in a suboptimal way. How do we have to use it in the future? I think if we think about that, we have to start from the security strategy of the European Union. The security strategy, which is not only about military operations, but mainly also about civilian operations, and it covers interventions in connection with the tsunami, up to military interventions in our geographical neighborhood. And what are the instruments we need, some of the instruments we need for such operations, civilian and military operations? There's the necessity of observation. You have to be able to observe what is happening on the territory. That is very important after a natural disaster, and was also highly important, for example, in Georgia, when we wanted to know exactly what was happening on the ground. At the time, the European Union as such did not dispose of the satellite pictures which would have been necessary to get a very clear impression. Then navigation and telecommunication. These are important satellite-based capabilities which are not yet developed in the European Union, but some of them are in development. I take projects like GMES or Galileo, or future projects like early warning and space awareness. These are projects which cost quite a lot of money, and where it is reasonable that as a European Union, we do this together, that not every single state tries to finance these satellite-based capabilities. And when we talk about pooling and sharing, I sometimes miss one or two very important matters. Some fields where quite a lot of money can be saved and quite a lot of efficiency can be gained. One is standardizations. We have standardization of the standardization institutes of the European Union. We have the standardization of NATO. But there are some future standards which will be of highest importance, like, for example, a common technical standard for protected telecommunications. I think it would be of highest importance that in a situation of crisis, also a natural disaster, the blue light organizations, the police, and the military have a common basic standard for telecommunication where they can communicate without any difficulty. This has happened in the civilian field. We have the standard for civilian telecommunications, and this European standards has been a success, also an export success of the European Union, because by being the common standard of the European Union, it has become or is becoming the world standard. And I think we should achieve something similar as far as protected telecommunications are concerned. There is a project of the European Commission together with the Defense Agency, and I think this is a very important project and should be pushed. Another field where quite a lot of money can be saved and where efficiency can be improved is certification. My favorite example for this is the helicopter NH90, which was a costly project. It costs about 20 billion as such. But I was told by the Defense Agency, by the people from the Defense Agency, that 20% of the cost, 4 billion, were the cost of certification in all the member states by different standards. Because something which has become normal in the civilian field, a common certification, for example, for airplanes, has not yet happened in the military field, where we also need a common certification for new products. Like, for example, also unmanned air vehicles and others, where a common standardization and a common certification will be extremely useful, creating a European market also in the field of security and defense. And here I'm at a project of the European Commission and the European Parliament. These are the directives concerning procurement, and where European procurement is prescribed also in the field of military and defense, of security and defense. I think until now there was an exception in the European Treaty, which has been used in a very extensive way by all the member states. But I think efficiency and also money can be saved if this new rule of the European Union is actually applied. So much to that. I would hope that at our Congress today, we also have an opportunity to talk about the future of the battle group, the future of the Eurocorps, and very especially what is happening about the Weimar battle group. Because I think we need some examples, some instruments of the European Union which have been developed there. I'm also talking about the Eurocorps. When Kohl and Mitterrand created the Eurocorps, they saw this as one of the bases of European defense, of a future European defense. And I think it is very important that Poland has decided now to become also a full member of the Eurocorps. And if we talk about a specialized, closer cooperation, I could imagine that something like that could develop around the Eurocorps and something like a Weimar battle group. I think these are points where we can improve the efficiency of what is happening in the field of security and defense. But last not least, I would like to come back to what President Pöttering said in his speech in the beginning. I think the most important thing is that we gain a conscience of the fact that we have common values, and also that we have common security interests. There are some special security interests of individual member states. There are some global security interests, but there are some specific, also some very specific European security interests. And on the 24th of May, I'm organizing a meeting in Strasbourg, especially also with the goal of defining the values of the European Union with some theologians, but also on the other side, and Hans-Gert Pöttering will speak at this, he will make an important speech at this occasion, but also the common security interests of the European Union. Sometimes due to our European geographical location, we have some special and common security and interests, and I think they have to be better defined if we want to make a success from this policy of security and defense of the European Union. Thank you very much.